Hello and welcome to the solo playthrough of Advanced Squad Leader. It's been quite a time I didn't record a video on Pacific Theater of Operations. I think it was one year ago. It was a deluxe, if I remember, the Tiger of Tongu, I don't know. And I also noticed that I didn't record many action-packed scenarios. So here is Action Pack 84, AP84 Double Trouble, which is a scenario from the Action Pack Roads to Rangoon, which is Action Pack 19. All the scenarios were crafted designs by Gary Fortenberry, who is an excellent player, an excellent designer, quite sophisticated one actually. But this scenario has its twists, but the victory conditions are not too complicated to follow. I admit I'm slightly intimidated recording a solo video of Gary Fortenberry, because he often has really a very deep insight of how a scenario works, and I really admit that I am not the best to grasp the subtleties of a scenario. What interested me in this scenario is the presence, or the quasi-presence, because it's hardly on board, of a gunboat. So I love the idea. I know LFT with their Saint-Nazaire pack, which I don't have, published many possibilities of gunboats. Here it will be in an abstracted form, but it will add to the amusement. So if you can bear with me playing a PTO scenario solo with all the HIP things, but actually there are not so many. The Japanese can set up to 10% of their units, of their squads, HIP, which is not enormous because it's not very hefty scenario. If you can bear with me and simply understand that my videos have no other pretense than having fun and sharing it with you. I never played it up to now, this scenario, so I'm glad to play it. So there was a former action pack which was Onto the Bridge, I think. Actually, it was To the Bridge, Action Pack 9, and now we have Roads to Rangoon. It's always, all those scenarios in the two packs are about the first stages of the Burma campaign, and it can last long because the Burma Theater of Operations was the longest land campaign, as it lasted from beginning of 42, if I don't get things on. Oh, the end of 41 and up to 45, with the to and fro movement that makes the British being very outclassed by the Japanese in the beginning, and reeling back to India around Imphal, and there, I think, the Battle of Kohima, etc. And afterwards the Japanese needing to retreat, of course, hit also by disease, starvation, etc. I perhaps said it, but my grandfather on my father's side, whose name was Montague Pierman Banks Reeve, was a quartermaster general. He made his career in the northwest of India between the wars. During First World War, he fought in Palestine against the Turks, dislodging a Turkish machine gun nest as a young lieutenant with Punjabi forces. Afterwards, he was in charge just before the war and in the beginning, in charge of preventing Afghan raids in the northwest of India. If I get things correctly, he was called to from that place in the end of 42 to be in charge, I believe not the only one, of the logistics in the region of Imphal. Impal. Oh, I saw the two pronunciations. In the first time I said Impal, I read Imphal somewhere. Anyway, Impal, I think Impal is better. I have his memoirs, which are handwritten and quite difficult to read. He passed away on the same day John Fitzgerald Kennedy died, on 22 November 1963. That's 3 weeks before I was born, so I never met him. And in his memoirs, I didn't read everything, but I know that he even, of course, perhaps quite logically, met on an occasion the General Vinegar Joe Stilwell. That's perhaps one of the, yes. And he went on during the war in a very important role of, let's say, the logistics were important at that time, as they always are in an army. And I know he finished his career as Brigadier General, and he was involved also in the decolonization or the organization of the British retreat from India. So that's all I know of him, or all I need to tell you about. So, as you see, I have some personal, familial links to the Burma campaign, which is fascinating because there were so many nationalities involved. On the British side, you had, of course, British from Britain, but you had Indians, of course, Burmese. You also had East and West Africans fighting, and you had Americans, Chinese under American direction, also Chinese divisions with Sun Li-jian. I made a scenario which never was published on it, okay? And on the Japanese side, you had, of course, the Japanese, mostly the Japanese, but you had Indians with Chandra Bose, which were, he wanted to shrug off the domination of the British, and you even had some Burmese independence army. I designed a scenario. I think it came up in an LFT pack, but I see that even in the Roads to Rangoon, there is one covering the same situation, but designed by Gary Fortenberry, and we had two different paths of design. I presume his was much more solid. He depicts them with partisan units. I depicted the Burmese with Axis miners, which is another choice, and I had a little twist about how they are very courageous against British armor until the moment they get hit too hard. Anyway, that's another story. So there we are. I'm speaking a little of my life here, but just to understand that as the aim of those scenarios is to have fun and to share the enthusiasm, you can understand that I have some enthusiasm about Burma, which was really a very interesting theater. So let's go now to reading. Oh, just another question, another thing. You see the image here is really bad. I had to take it from the scenario card. It is it's free of rights. I didn't find a better one, and I tried to ask the AI ChatGPT, to be precise, to just make the image better and colorize it, but it was problematic. Of course, I don't pay for it, so I only had the choice for 2 or 3 images before the machine tells me to wait perhaps 24 hours. And it's okay, it colorized the thing well, but the guy in the forefront, they gave him an AR-15 or something like that, a modern assault rifle. So I asked that he replaced it with a Sten gun, and I asked it, and they they made a Sten gun, but with a vertical ammo thing, and so I know it existed, but post-war, so I asked it to craft a Sten gun, normal one, but it still looks like a MP40 or something like that. So I decided not to because the rest of the image was excellent, but so I had to revert back. It was very complicated to find a proper image which was not covered by copyright on the Burmese campaign. So here we have manifestly an Indian, perhaps even a Sikh fighter. So the unit here were the 2nd Burma Brigade, but I believe MMP and Gary Fortenberry had the same problem as I have. So they put that in despair, and actually that was an illustration also, I think, of the scenario I made about the Burmese, guts are not enough, because yeah, there are only I don't know, a handful of those images around, which would be free of rights. So that's life. Now let's jump to the scenario, okay? So here we are, 28 December 41. We are at Bok Puyin, Burma, quite in the southeast, nearing Thailand and Malaya. So let's read the historical description. Of course, I know you can read, but it's perhaps slightly small for you if you're on a smartphone or other. So Bok Puyin, Burma, 28 December 41. Immediately after the abortive British foray into Thailand, codenamed Yacht, the returning Burma Frontier Force, Column 2, led by Major S.W.A. Buana Love, the nickname having previously been earned as a member of the King's African Rifles, was redirected to the police post of Bok Puyin, where a Japanese company had recently captured the village. A motor launch that had been dispatched to resupply Love's column with mortar ammunition failed to arrive as scheduled. Love, an aggressive leader of men, ordered an attack on the fortified police station atop a tall hill. Attacking with only small arms and grenades, the Gurkhas of BFF-2 were repulsed. Major Love was killed and his second-in-command wounded, and with the column running very low on ammunition, the attack was called off. 2 days later, the Japanese position was again attacked by elements of 2nd Burma Rifles. So there are no more Gurkhas, they are 2nd Burma Rifles. This attack was supported by a gunboat, hooray, and plenty of mortar ammunition. And aftermath, the Japanese occupiers, having fought off Love's men, were now very low on ammunition, with many men wounded, and they proved unable to hold off for long the determined attack of the Burmese colonial troops. Lieutenant Furutuki, the ranking Japanese officer, was killed, and with his death the Japanese withdrew overland to Victoria Point. The loss of Major Love in the initial assault was a severe blow to the frontier force and the British ability to resist the Japanese advances. So here I'm quickly superimposing, and you can see here, just in the south where there's a red pin, here, Bok Puyin, that's it where we are. So as you can see, really in the south of Myanmar today, which is Burma, and you have Malaya, Thailand. So really they are squeezed between Thailand and Malaya. So a very awkward position from a strategical, even a operational point of view. So let's go on and see what we have. We have a map with 5A, 6B, 7A, Fortenberry double wide boards which are arranged in a place. It was quite strange. I had to pivot them 90 90 degrees, sorry, on the right to do things correctly, but it worked. So let's see the British condition, victory conditions. Oh, it works even better by little bits like that. Victory conditions. The British win at game end by controlling all buildings and or by amassing 5 VP more than the Japanese. So, all buildings or more than 5 VP. CVP are awarded normally, so I believe they count in the total. And each non-hut building hex controlled is worth 1 IVP. You'll note afterwards. We'll note that in the special rules, the buildings on 5B or 5A, is it? 5A are not huts. So, but I marked them on the map, so we get out. So it's a 5.5 turn scenario. Not too bad. The British are the attackers. There was a debate, not a debate, simply people wondering why in this so bad moment of history for the British Army, so many scenarios in this pack saw British attacking. But Gary Fortenberry explained that, yes, they had a lot of tactical situations where the British at least tried to counterattack, tried to push back the Japanese. So here we won't absolutely, we'll anticipate a little. So quite close to 5A map, you have 2 zones of placement. You'll see that. Here you have Japanese with 3 striped first liners and a broken 8-1 here, 8-1 leaders. So there we are. They are normally armed 1 MMG, 2 LMG, 1 mortar. Some foxholes, some decoys, some dummies. Okay, and another zone also quite logical or simple, or let's say meat and potatoes, or let's say how do you say that, stew and rice for for PTO. So 3 first liners with an A0 leader and 1 LMG and a mortar and 3 concealment things. Okay, and here we have 11 squads, which are typical of Indian Army. So second liners and 4 half squads, and there will be the possibility to deploy up to 2. The Japanese are 9. They could just HIP1 squad, I think. Okay. 4 leaders, which is something for 4 to 13. Yeah, okay. Not too bad, but not the top-notch leaders. Are quite correct. 1 MMG, 2 mortars, and 1 LMG. Note also the MMG presence, not always there in, let's say, recent concepts. Okay, they come from the south. We'll see that together. And here we have 2 special a mortar and a HMG. He put 76 millimeters. I'm using the 81 version because I prefer, it seems better historically. So we have the choice whenever. So the environmental conditions are dry, no wind at start, PTO terrain, including light jungle, but roads and bridge exists, and no board 5A buildings are huts. Okay, the Japanese control all buildings on board 5A at start. The river is deep with a slow current flowing south. Kindling is not authorized, so nothing really surprising. The Japanese suffer from ammo shortage. I placed a note next to the map so we remember what happens. Globally, you have break numbers -1 and breakdown numbers down 1. And when an IFP shot is taken with a 12, there's a unit replacement. Okay, the other remarks I made already, and that's quite typical of many of Gary Fortenberry's scenarios. On turn 4, any hipsters on the Japanese side during the beginning of the Japanese movement phase, even before the Zerkers, they become visible and conduct a panzer charge to the nearest in hex enemy unit. No need to have LOS, so they'll charge in the wild if they see nothing. Okay, that's a way just to keep out the hipsters after a moment, especially when it's about, you know, occupying places. So the mortar and HMG represent a motor gunboat. So they can set up together. They don't need any personnel to fire because they're off map actually. They fire. They cannot intensive fire. They can sustain fire. Okay. They cannot be fired upon by any means. And a good order British leader may act as a spotter for the gunboat mortar. Okay. Okay, without needing, of course, to be adjacent because it's placed in a given hex, but that's just for range calculation, etc. But otherwise, it's off board. The HMG may use opportunity fire and is not subject to covering, okay, or mandatory fire direction. As a side note, I introduced, without knowing that other peoples had done it, but I hadn't read about it yet, in FDL Chong, which is in the deluxe scenarios of Le Franc-Tireur. It's set in Burma, and I had a rule about a gun, a Japanese gun, which is off-board. Even more, how do you say that? Abstracted, but you count the range with 18 more hexes, etc. And I saw that appear more and more in scenarios. Charles Argent also used it. I wouldn't believe anybody was inspired by anybody else. It was just there. People had different ideas how to have a gun intervene from afar. I would believe that perhaps we could have some scenarios with very heavy weapons firing, guns firing direct fire that way. It would be, yeah, and you know those mortars which have 10 or 15 minimum range values. Perhaps it's the best way to have them. Let's say the US 107 millimeter mortar is very awkward to use on board, but if you have one abstracted firing from, let's say, 4th level at 12 hex from the board edge, etc., you can really introduce that gun in a scenario without having the problems of, let's say, setting up 2 boards in addition to the one which is played upon. Okay, I think we saw everything. I'll come back to anything else if there's a problem. So here is the battlefield. I also put on the right the little casualty bin, so we can see the casualties mounting. I hope it will work. What do we have? We have the gunboat already placed up here with the 2 guns. So this is the first zone for the Japanese to set up, and the other one. And as you see, this is a building, and all those should be huts, but by SSR they aren't, so they count for victory points. So here we are. So the Japanese can HIP up to 10% of their squad equivalents. So I'm just going to count. I have 3.5, 9.5. So I only can HIP 1 squad equivalent in either zone. So that's where could I put them in an intelligent, interesting way. So the British set up here and on the left. Oh, what did I do? I did something wrong. Okay. What happened? There we are. I should be. Okay. So So those huts absolutely don't count as buildings, of course, because they are considered as, what do they say? Non-hut buildings only count for victory. Okay, that's nice. So they're bound to attack some way, somehow. This would be a nice play just to, but you know, the British. Where could the British come? Of course, they would want to follow some easy roads here. Whoa, no, coming here. No, what would be the most interesting? Of course, here it would be a nice place because they can squeeze themselves. But I have nobody. I would love to hide in the bamboo here. Doesn't seem to work, but we can wait for people to come out here. I don't know what would be the best thing to do. First of all, I'll give the machine gun to this crew, and the mortar to this one. What should I have here? I'm going to zoom a little so we have a better idea of what to do and give the weapons to the best guys. That's absolutely necessary. So there could be some British coming, but you see the setup for the Japanese is quite limited because they would love to set traps here. They could go there, but it wouldn't be ideal. The buildings are not hindrances because they're not huts, so it's quite complicated to set up in a way that could annoy everybody. I wonder what this little... I think I'll use a striped unit to... oh, I see. No, I put everything okay. Or should I put somebody... No, up there it's okay. I wonder if I could not... the thing is, on turn 4 the British will be quite close, so the idea could be just to have a charge and charge through palm trees would be so much more interesting. So I can HIP the little guys in a that's quite close place. Why not here? That would be amusing. Or if the British are coming here, we could even move up here, and but it would be a mad charge, and I don't want them to be mad. I want them to be efficient in a way. So, okay, let's see what happens. Okay, and there we are. I don't need to declare them wall advantage because it's not okay. So we would need to put somebody here. We're bound to do this because the brunt of the attack will move here. Oh, this! I don't have enough people to do a good job, don't I? Here we'll do something. Yeah, in a way. We're covering those 2 entries, and here defending the south of village makes sense. Please, what am I doing? Oh yeah. Oh yes, why not? But here, no, here we have a good view, so it could prevent British from making 2. Yeah, and this little thing. Let me see. They don't do. Oh yeah. Okay, HE range minus. I think they're not. I'm going to look at the mortar thing because I think I knew at 1 hex range they have no airburst, but at 2 I need to see. There we are. So it goes up to 2 hexes with the ROF of 1 and no airburst because it's actually nearly a grenade launcher rather than a mortar at that distance. So, where could we place the mortar just to do some damage? So, placing it here would not be very efficient, actually. Perhaps here, or... Yeah, why not? Bang, bang, bang. Or even, yeah, we cannot do a lot. I don't have the best view here. If we go here, we could fire here. We could fire there a little. Okay, we could, no, but not so much. Here we have better view, but not so much here. 1, 2. Okay, we could have some cover here. Okay, I'll put them here, my little mortar guys in a foxhole. I'm going to make them HIP. There we are. Now that foxholes allow some sneaky moves, that's much better with the new rules. Okay. I believe we could put some people here. Okay. Oh, we cannot even go there. There we are. And here have some fire brigades. There we are. I believe that this will be complicated, or should we? I don't know. We don't need to have a lot of. Okay. So now, if I were playing face to face, I would place no right of inspection on some of those units. So there we are. We would need some here. If we move back, we just need some. Okay, that's not the best place, but here, okay. Okay. That allows some sneaky moving. Okay. That would be up here, down here. And now in the village, so here, nope. That's not very useful to be upstairs here. Already giving. Oh, I could, of course, deploy. So I'm deploying one unit, one squad, just to have the mortar here. The thing is, the mortar won't do a lot of harm where it is, but not really the best thing to do. What do we cover here? We only cover this. It's rather ridiculous. But so here we are. I'm putting a wall advantage because could be better, but I'm not very convinced of what I'm doing. Yeah, I can put them under wall advantage also here. Okay, that will be for the Japanese defense. There's no ball sighting, anything. They're just awaiting. So as expected, there's a solid line here. The British will have to break it. So on the British side, they have something like 11 squads. So they could, of course, already giving 1, 2, 3 half squads. But I think I'll deploy 2 squads. Okay, so we need to do some exploration. Moving up the place here also. And some people moving directly here. So we are conscious that this is very dangerous, but we can move 1, 2, 3. Yeah. So I'm putting now squads where I want them to be. We can stack them quite high because yes. Well. Oh, now I must give to the... I'm placing them in the water so I don't forget that they move. They must be moved elsewhere. I just saw one report, I think it was on Scenario Archive, which said that smoke should have been more used, of course, if you have any. Well, the smoke is okay. I think it's not depletable, actually, for the... what does it say with the... unlimited smoke on both styles, so white phosphorus, etc. So that could be really... So I don't need so much smoke over here. I'll count on the gunboat. So I would say we would need some help here and some... I'm overstacking, I know, so I need to remove 1, 2, 3. Oh no, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's okay. I have my heavy weapons section. I'm going to put my recon guys here. And I think we could move here. Rather, there. This would... Oh, sorry. Yeah. And where do we have... I think we need to have just... Oh, of course. If I'm doing stupid things, it won't help. And the medium machine gun... Yeah, here. We have a heavy weapons section here, but we will need some normal infantry. The thing is that we mustn't take... If we move here boldly, we could get hit by a machine gun. Yeah, so we would need... Where would we... Here we would need some punch. And the second line guys do cover when... yeah. They could cover, indeed. Okay, I'm putting a second one here. But I don't want to divert too many people here, but if I can... There's only one objective here, but if we can stop and, you know, move here, perhaps take this place, and afterwards divert units, perhaps from there, That goes very fast, but you know. Do we have machine gun already? Yes. And here we have 2 guys who could skirt the woods on this side of the place, but perhaps not here because of this possible machine gun. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. What do we have here? Oh, 3. We have plenty. We don't have a lot in the center, and the center will need some punch, some pressure. So I'll say here. Okay. So I'll put Andra here. Barua. Chatterjee. Here, and Dasgupta. I gave them Indian names, I presume. Yeah, the NCOs, they had quite a lot of Indians, but of course I didn't really make research to know which part of India they were from, and you know, but some of those, of course, they are Burmese, but okay, didn't want to put Smith, Jones, and Huckleberry, I don't know what. Hawthorne, etc. So there we are for the British. So let's conceal all people. So as you see, I'll have 1 prong around here, perhaps this side, 1 around here. And guys here also moving perhaps on this side first. I don't know, but I think the best idea is still to move around here. And so perhaps would it be less? Yeah. I think we'll just displace them because no. I'm wondering, yes, but we need to take care of those guys. So we'll have people here and others moving. Okay. I'll put perhaps little recon people here. Yeah, trying to mount an attack, of course, not quite knowing where the Japanese will be. Oh, yes, I understand. The Japanese should hide a little because, yeah, you have the right, even if you don't have the right of inspection. So let's go for it like that. Okay, and here. Okay. Yeah, that was the thing to do. Sorry, I'm playing with myself, so. Yeah, of course, I would put this on some people. 2, 3. So not so many decoy, actually. 4, and no. Oh, we don't need that. Okay, so that's it. Of course, sorry I didn't take this in account, and that's what would the sound defender do, because if you know, you immediately know where the dummies are otherwise, so how stupid am I? I'm going to put this sniper in the open here, and this one, well, in the village, infiltrating people. Anyway, the SANs are quite low. 2 for the Brits, the Indians, and 3 for the Japanese. ELR are rather low. So now it's time to conceal the last people. Yeah, so that's why. As you know, there we are. It's less vital for the Japanese because to know who's whom with the British, because anyway the situation is quite straightforward. So there we are. I'm going to remove. Oh, there we are. I knew it should go progressively. No. I'm removing those little signposts, which are not pretty at all. There we are, there we are, there we are, there we are. On the Japanese side, okay. Okay, so this time we have a beautiful battlefield ready for action, aren't we? So, here we go. We'll see how things unfold. Let's see if the defenders of the empire, which one? Of the Japanese empire will prove tenacious, or will the Indian Burmese, 2nd Burma Battalion of the 2nd Burma Brigade will provide, show themselves as good attackers. Historically, they did win against weakened Japanese. So let's see. We'll see that later anyway. And you see my mouse, so that's not too bad, because I could decide not to have it visible, but it helps. So that's all for my soliloquism. Let's go on for next time. I don't know when next time will come, but quite quickly, because I don't have 1,000 things to do. Tomorrow I'll have a quite occupied day, but perhaps even I squeeze another recording today, because it's only 4:30 p.m. in my place. So perhaps this evening will I do something. Anyway, all the best to you, and If you are looking today, happy birthday. No, not happy birthday. Happy Christmas. Merry Christmas. There we are. All in all, bye-bye.